Hi everyone, this is going to be a short overview on some of the basic Audacity tools to help you with your podcasting. Up on the left there you can see recording and playback tools. In the middle you have the quick edit tools, and on the right you have the volume display for your recording and playback. And before I do anything, I'm going to save this file. Okay, so you go down to save project as, and type in your name here. You can see I have it saved as test. Now here you can see a sub toolbar. If you don't see this sub toolbar, just go up into view, go down to toolbars, and just make sure device toolbar is clicked. And if you find this too small to work with, you'll get the exact same options here. You'll have playback device, recording device, and recording channels. And actually, I'll just stick with this panel for now. It's probably easier to see. So your playback device is what you want your listeners to be able to hear the audio on. So you're going to leave it at the speakers for your laptop. Then your recording device, you can see it's picking up here that I have a microphone attached. It's a Rode NT microphone. And the recording channels, then you can see mono recording channel and stereo recording channels. We're going to go up here to our record meter. And so you just click on this, and we're going to see what the volume is of our recording level. It's hitting -12. That's good. That's where we want it to be. If you want to increase it, if you want it to be a little louder, you can just slide the toolbar up. What you don't want is it coming up here so that your recording is starting to peak. It's going red. That means there's going to be distortions in your recording. So we're just going to slide this back down again. And you can see now it's sitting around between -12 and -6. Okay, you want your playback device to be hitting around the same, but we need a bit of material recorded before we can view that. Okay, so let's do a bit of recording. So I'm just going to record a short piece. Limerick's not hard to define, but it needs to do more than just rhyme. It's the meter that matters, the pitters and patters. If not, you're just wasting my time. That's a nice long sample, and I can see straight away from the wave lines, I can see that this is a breath. This is a breath here, these little jagged lines in between the words. So these are breaths. So if I press play now there, so you can hear that as a breath. If I press play here, yeah, you can hear that as a breath. Okay, so we're going to remove all those little scratchy sounds now. So just before we begin all that, is just so you can see what I did there. This is your selection tool. Okay, so this is a little workhorse of Audacity. It's what allows you to move, to highlight, to kind of control any editing here in the interface. Okay, so as you can see, it's selected, it's kind of grayed out. All you do is click and drag your mouse across to select any piece of audio. And you can zoom in with these tools, you can zoom out. And the peaks indicate higher volumes of speech. The more flat rounded ones are for lower kind of volumes of speech. So I want to silence some of these gasps and stuff. All right, so I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go to my silent tool. And instantly you can see that gasp is gone. I'm going to leave a couple in as well just for noise reduction later, but it's quite quick to do that. Now you can also do some very simple things like drag across, and you can cut, you can paste. So if I want to go over here and I want to paste a gap here, we'll just select here. And you're going to see that I'm not going to be able to paste this in here just yet. Okay, so if you get this message up, don't be alarmed. There's not enough room to paste. So what we need to do is make room before we insert our paste. We do that by splitting the clip. Okay, so you right click again, go down to split clip. And now we simply, when I hover over here at the top, it gives me a little hand symbol. I can pull that out and I can click anywhere here and paste in. Okay, so there's your pasted piece. I'm going to click Control Z now just to get rid of that. So Command Z or Control Z just to undo your changes. And it's good to know that the basic editing tools that you're familiar with from Word or PowerPoint are usable in Audacity as well. Now, the nice thing as well about splitting the clip is it's non-destructive. So you can see this little symbol here appearing to the left of the track. I can drag that back out so the original clip is still available. So it's a non-destructive type of editing. So that's good to know as well. So I'll just delete this now and we'll just go back to our single main track. Okay, so let's hear what this sounds like on playback. So I'm just going to record a short piece. Limerick's not hard to define, but it needs to do more than just rhyme. It's the meter that matters, the pitters and patters. If not, you're just wasting my time. That wasn't too bad. So you can see with something this short, you could easily just pick out the waves that show any annoying breaths that you want to remove. You highlight what you want to edit, go up to the silence tool or delete it out, and it's done. But if this was a longer recording, a more effective tool might be noise reduction, especially if there's a very low persistent humming sound, for example, in the background. So in that case, you would come up here to effects. Now this is going to be your main tool for all the editing you're going to do here. Okay, so we click into effect. You come down here to noise removal and repair and come over to noise reduction. And it's going to ask us to get a little sound profile. Okay, so it's saying you must first select some audio to perform this action. Okay, so what that's looking for is an example of the sound that we want removed. So I can see another scratchy breath here. So to get the noise profile. All right, so if I zoom in there a little bit, you can see it's kind of scratchy. So come back into your effect, come back down to your noise removal and repair, noise reduction, and this is our noise profile. So I'm going to click get noise profile. This could be reduced, say down to 1 or something. I'm going to leave it quite sensitive just so you see the difference. It looks like nothing has happened here. That's because you must come back up. So it's selected now for noise profile. And when we come back in here then for noise reduction, we can apply our effect. So then you just come down here and you click OK, and that should vanish. All right. Now to add it to other areas of the track, we'll just select the whole lot. And I'll zoom out so that you can see the difference. Now, when we apply the noise reduction, it's going to kind of round off those waveforms a little bit. So here we go. So go back into effect, noise removal and repair, back down to noise reduction, and you just go straight to OK this time. And you can see it kind of squashed everything. Now you can see there's still a little gasp here. That's fine. All you've to do is go up and silence it. All right, so we'll play that now and you'll hear a difference. It's going to be kind of more rounded. Not necessarily better just yet. So I'm just going to record a short piece. Limerick's not hard to define, but it needs to do more than just... Now, it's not too bad. You don't hear any of those gasps anymore, and I didn't have to go through it all one by one. Now, you could, if you were happy with that, you could leave it like that. You could come up here and go to effect, come down to volume and compression, and despite the word compression, it doesn't reduce the volume like you think it might. It increases the volume in a way that gives a more balanced sound but avoids clipping. I'm going to clip here. I'd advise just leaving all the factory presets as they are and use them instead. You'll see a preview button with all of them. I'm just going to go ahead and click apply. I'm not messing with anything. And you can see the volume has been increased. Okay, so we'll play that back now. So I'm just going to record a short piece. Limerick's not hard to define, but it needs to do more than just rhyme. It's the me. That's a much nicer piece of audio now. It's much clearer, but you can see there's some quite staggery bits here at the end. Okay, now what you could do is to reduce just the volume of that. You could just come in here again, highlight, go back up to your effect. Down to volume and compression, go to amplify and reduce the decibels. So I'll preview this. Limerick's not hard. Yeah, so it's still, that's okay. So I'm going to click apply and you can see that brings that way down. So what we could also do again, if you had a very long piece, another tool you can use, and I'm just going to click all here, is the limiter tool. Okay, so we're going to come back up into effect, volume and compression again, and come down to limiter. And the limiter is a nice one because it sets the loudest part of a recording to really reduce peaks across the entire track, so it's easy on the ears. So again, just leave the presets and settings alone and click apply. So you can see that has rounded it off lovely. So I'm just going to record a short piece. Limerick's not hard to define, but it needs to do more than just rhyme. That's far better than what it was. So the next thing we're going to do is import audio. So this is representing our podcast, our voiceover. We can move it about in line. Oh, and another thing I would recommend you do is name your section. So we'll just say intro. Sometimes I think it's easier when you're starting to record, especially if you're going to be editing kind of individual notes after is sometimes to split the track by topics or by questions, and you can just label each question then, and it's just helpful to a track of everything you're doing in the channel. And you can also export individual tracks. I'll just actually show you how to do that here. So right click, split clip. Now, so I have 2 tracks. Okay, so I just want to, I'll change the name here, intro 2. I just want to, we'll say export this section, all right? So I leave that highlighted. I could go to export, and it says MP3 here. That's perfect for your podcast. If you were ever uploading podcasts to YouTube, MP3s can be a bit glitchy on YouTube, and WAV files are .wav is what they read as. You just double check, you can see here it's mono. The entire project to know, we just want to select the current selection, and you click your export button there, and that would export then as a single track. So in class last day, I covered how to import a free music file from Pixabay, but I'll just include a short clip here again on how to do that.
We covered Pixabay before, and I'll just show you how you insert a music file now. Up here, if you go into music, you can see they're all free for you to use. And I say, I'll just play this first one here. So you can quickly go down through a huge amount of music files and kind of see what would suit your lesson. So I wouldn't advise anything electronic, maybe something upbeat, something like that. So again, I'll just go with the first one here. To find out information then, say like on copyright or anything like that, or whether the author wants to be credited, you just go to this arrow here, a downward arrow, and there's no certificate symbol or anything here. I'll just go down through them here. So here now, okay, so it says content is ID registered. So Pixabay is very good for walking you through all these steps anyway, but what that's saying there is that this is a digital fingerprint. And if that copyright notice comes up on your animation or your video, it doesn't mean that you've infringed the copyright. It just means that the author of the music is letting everyone know that this is their content. You can't use it commercially. You need their permission if you go beyond using it a certain way. And it also gives them actually the right to monetize their music. So they might add some adverts to your music video. And if that doesn't bother you, that's fine. And you don't have to do anything. So they make a bit of money and you get to use their file for free. But suppose you did want to monetize your video, then you can just come back here and you go into their profile. You can see the profile name there, and you can just get in touch with that person directly themselves. But you can download the files directly here. You can play them. You can see the license certificate. You can log in if you want to get the author certificate. But generally, I'm going to download this one here, and I'll give you a moment now to do the same. So when I click download, just as with the images from Pixabay, you get a little thing that you can copy. I always recommend doing that. You can stick it into the notes section of your PowerPoint.
So now that we're ready to import, we just go up to File and select Import. Select Audio. So now we have our music, but for your podcast assignment, it's best not to have music throughout the whole track. You don't even have to have any music, but a little intro and outro is nice. So to get that effect, I'm going to mute the voiceover, and that protects it from being edited. So as you see here, and I'm going to remove the middle section of the music track by highlighting and deleting the sections I don't want. So I'm going to come right in here, and I'm going to come right over here. Now, an important thing to notice when I do this, when I click delete, it's going to join the 2 tracks. All right, so I'm clicking delete on my laptop, and you can see it has kind of brought the 2 pieces together. I'm going to click in on that. Now, I don't want them joined. And if I move them at all, you'll see that they still are. So what I want to do is I'm going to right click. I'm going to right click where the joint appeared. And I'm going to split the clips. Okay. So this is going to be our outro. This is going to be our intro. So now you can see if there's any issue, you can just go in and out again to reduce it. Now we'll add a fade effect to each end of the music track using the envelope tool. You'll have noticed when I clicked the tool, the outer edges of the timeline became blue. So now you click twice on the outer edges and pull them down towards the center to create a fade effect. Okay, so I can pull it in here. I can make it very extreme or soft like that. So we'll press play and see how that sounds. Forgot to bring my toolbar back here. So I go back up to select, bring my tool, and you repeat the same at the other end. So we go back up to our envelope tool, and this time we're clicking in here, And we're going to be dragging at this point here because we're fading in. So now we just move the tracks into place by going back to your selection tool and dragging them. So we'll zoom out, and I'm going to unmute this and drag this here. For your podcast, you're going to want to leave a gap for when the music is. You can see very visually where to place it. So I'm going to go about here. Bring my playhead back to the start. So I'm just going to record a short piece. Very simple, and of course you can drag that out, as I said earlier. And you could even add a third point to make it more finely tuned again. Piece. Limerick's not. And just repeat the same over here. Okay. So what you're doing is you're making sure that it is overlapping with your audio piece, but not too much. Now I want to normalize across both tracks. So now I'm going to click Control A because I want to select all tracks. And I'm going to go to Effect, back into volume and compression, and down here to normalize. I'll click apply. Again, I'm not messing with the factory presets. And what that does is it kind of matches the volume of the music to the volume of the audio. So when I play this now, so I'm just going to record a short piece. Limerick. Okay, so there's much more balance across all the tracks. So you're pretty much balancing the volumes there. And there's one last tool I forgot to show you about, and that is the equalizer tool. So I'm just going to mute this here a minute so that we don't make any changes to that track. I'm going to select all of my voiceover track, and I'm going to come up into Effect. I'm going to come to Equalizer and Filters and come all the way down to Filter Curve. I'm happy with the recording I just done there. But if you wanted less dynamic range in the voice, more kind of a balanced tone, this filter curve preset is very good. So you come up here to preset. So all this really means is recordings below this level are going to be silent in playback. And we're just going to go to the factory presets. And we're coming down to low roll-off for speech. Okay, and I'm not going to preview. I'm just going to click apply so you can see it and hear it. Okay, so tiny difference, so that's good. So I'm just going to record a short piece. Limerick's not hard to define. And we'll just unmute so you can hear the last little bit. So I'm just going to record a short piece. Limerick's not. So that's much better. So we have a nice soft recording, nice soft voiceover, done very quickly and very simply. So now we want to export that. So what do? We come up into File. Of course, you'll have been saving this as you go. We go to Export Audio. You can see it's set on current selection because that's what we did last. This time we want our entire project, and I'm just going to leave it in MP3 format. That's fine. We're now going to leave this on stereo because we have a stereo file, which is our music file. If we didn't have music, we'd be leaving this on mono. And this is location. I'm going to save it. So I want to change this. And that's our export gone. So we'll check out how that export looks then. I've located my file marked done, and we'll just press play here. So I'm just going to record a short piece. Limericks. You can hear very clearly there. So the next step then is to bring that into PowerPoint. Okay, so this is just an example for how you might present your podcast in a PowerPoint slide. So we'll just go up to Insert. We're going to insert our audio that was just exported as an MP3. I'll click here, done. Okay, so it brings us automatically into the center of the slide. That's a bit dull, so we can do better than that. We'll click Audio Format. I'm going to come over here, and you can see a picture symbol in the middle. Just scroll down here to Icons. Now you could check them all out. I'm just going to select Microphones. I'll choose this one. And there we go. And we can enlarge that as well, just so it's easier to see and quite obvious. And I don't like the black and white, so we can come up here, go to graphics format, and just change the color. So just go for this one here. Now we'll see what that sounds like on playback. But first, we're going to go to the playback tools, And if you come over here where it says start, it's saying it's going to play in sequence. So we want to change that to when clicked on. So even if this is played in slideshow mode. So I'm just going to record a short piece. Limerick's not hard to define, but it needs to do more than just rhyme. It's the meter that matters, the pitters. Okay, so that's it, and that's all you need to know for podcasting. Thank you.